In relation to corruption in our universities, it is true that corruption and unethical conduct have found their way into our universities, and this is compromising and threatening the quality and the standards of higher education in the country. At the moment, EACC is conducting investigations into various forms of corruption, theft of public funds, academic fraud, and unethical conduct in 18 public universities. But now come to Siaya, where we are today. This is, let me call it a new scandal in Jaramongi Oginga Odinga University of Science and Technology. In a similar version to what happened in Moi University, university officials allegedly colluded with consultants and contractors to defraud Jaramongi University of money amounting to 2.6 billion Kenya shillings, and that is in the implementation of 6 capital projects in the university. Notably, these payments have already been done despite the projects still being incomplete. In the same university, that is Jaramongi Oginga Odinga University, EACC, through its Nyanza regional office in Kisumu, has launched fresh investigations, and this is in relation to a graduation that took place last month in October, where it is alleged that 6 university officials received bribes to facilitate the graduation of over 200 unqualified students who, instead of sitting for supplementary examinations, colluded with those officials to bribe their way into the graduation list. EACC has already moved in, and even as these investigations continue, the Commission expects the university management to take appropriate administrative action to remedy that menace, because if those allegations are confirmed through investigations to be true, then that would be a serious problem. So if you look at what is happening in our universities, and from the pattern that is emerging from the reports already received from 18 universities, it is clear that most of these problems are caused by serious leadership and governance problems. For universities such as Moi and Nairobi, the very top, the vice chancellors, council members are accused of being part of that problem. And that is why you saw the University of Nairobi the other time, instead of heeding the advice from EACC to take administrative action to correct a mess where a person without the required qualification has been given a senior position, instead of taking action, they wrote back to EACC trying to justify why the officer should continue in office. We rejected that suggestion from the chair of the council of the university, and we have given them 30 more days effective from 5th of November to take action. In respect to Jaramongi Oginga Odinga University, there are aspects that require action from the regulatory bodies, from the university itself. So as EACC deals with the issues relating to corruption and the criminal aspects, there are those other quality issues that require action by the relevant bodies under the Ministry of Education. We want to challenge the Ministry of Education also to strengthen frameworks for management of quality and the standards in higher education, because the investigations that have been undertaken are indicating gaps. You cannot understand why such a thing would happen in a university that has a council and a vice chancellor who have a responsibility to ensure that the right thing is done. We also want to urge the lecturers. They have been on strike asking for more money. It is a very high level of moral impunity on a part of some of them to facilitate students who are not qualified or who have not sat exams to graduate or otherwise attain qualifications on the basis of bribes. So to address this problem in the university, there is need for concerted efforts, and those efforts will require different stakeholders to take different actions. There are things that the ministry ought to do. The regulatory bodies under the ministry ought to take certain measures. Those responsible for quality and standards ought to take action to ensure that we have in place strong controls to assist. Finally, the investigation relating to the 2.6 billion Kenya shillings in Jaramongi Oginga Odinga is underway. The former Vice Chancellor, who is the main culprit and who worked with other officials to orchestrate this, has already been visited. There is a search operation has been undertaken in his homes in Nairobi, Homa Bay and Kisumu. And it was noted that when he retired, he carried all the original documents relating to the 6 capital projects that were implemented at the cost of 2.6 billion. And that is the reason why when the university was recently taken to court by one of the contractors who is demanding an additional 179 million, the university was not able to effectively defend itself because the former Vice Chancellor retired with all the original documents relating to the project. Luckily, EACC was able to do that search and retrieved all those documents. Those volumes of documents are in our custody, and we are using them to finalize that investigation. Once complete, appropriate action will be taken, and that will involve recommendations for prosecution where applicable, and the EACC will also proceed to court to recover any public money that has been lost. Meanwhile, in relation to one of the projects at Jaramongi, there was a further collusion for the contractor to come forth and demand 179 million at a time they knew that the university did not have the documents to assess what has been paid and what has not been paid. That contractor has successfully obtained orders from Siaya High Court, but in view of the new evidence from the documents retrieved from the home of the former Vice Chancellor, EACC will be proceeding to the High Court in Siaya to ask the High Court to open that matter afresh with a view to setting aside those orders. It is important to also note that the contractor who was involved in one of the projects and who is demanding an additional 179 million Kenya shillings has already frozen the bank accounts for Jaramongi Oginga Odinga University. Its bank accounts are frozen because a contractor who has already been paid monies not due to them has gone back to make a further claim arising to irregular variations that have been done to that project involving collusion with the university officials. That is the former Vice Chancellor, the former Deputy Vice Chancellor, and the 4 other officials. I must clarify that unlike the University of Nairobi and the Moi University, where the top leadership is part of the problem, at Jaramongi, the current administration, and I'm talking about the newly posted Vice Chancellor, are supporting the investigations. And these issues relate to the management that was there before. It is important that this is clarified.